All right, meeting will come to order. On the score, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Conley? Dr. Vioff?
Present.
Mr. Benjamin?
Present?
Mr. Dunn? Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Thank you very much. We will, if you'll stand with me, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll remain standing for a moment of silence. I'm going to ask one of our second grade teachers, Ms. Carol Benjamin, to lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Right. Yes. All right. I think we have a presentation or something's happening tonight. I'm not exactly sure, but I see something happening. I see Dr. Marvin beginning to stand up. So I'm just going to give her the floor. Dr. Marvin.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to Hands Up, the Arlington Elementary School puppet team. And we are a group of 4th and 5th graders who are really excited about puppets, and sponsored by me, Kelly Shedd, a 2nd grade teacher, and Laura Rydell is back behind the stage. Wave at us, Laura. And she's a speech and language pathologist at our school. This club is special to our school because it was funded by the Legacy Grant, and we're really proud of the grant that we got, and we're very thankful for it. It was definitely a great funding for our startup costs. Just to hit the highlights of the Portrait of a Graduate that this club really speaks to. It speaks to all of the Portrait of a Graduate tenets, but specifically, you can tell that these students are collaborating intentionally, cultivating creativity, and communicating effectively. This is our first performance, and we have a full performance on March 11th where we will be doing 3 skits. I have our wolf here because he's involved in 2 other ones. We're doing the Big Bad Wolf, the true story of the Big Bad Wolf, and the 3 Little Pigs rap on that night, as well as what we're about to do here tonight, which is Jack and the Beanstalk, a play written for the radio. So we have a sound effects crew because this play was designed to be heard, not seen. This is by dramanotebook.com, authored by Ruth Landone Giordano. Jack and the Beanstalk, a radio play.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named
Jack. He lived with his
mother. Jack and his mother lived on a farm.
Actually, it was a very small farm.
The fact is, they only had 1 cow.
And every morning, while he was trying his best to sleep late, he would hear, Jack!
Yes, Mother?
It's time to milk the cow.
Yes, Mother. So he did.
And Jack?
Yes, Mother.
Take the milk to the market.
Yes, Mother.
Every day, Jack took the milk to sell at the market.
Now, at the time our story takes place, in the place where our story takes place, conditions were harsh.
There was a drought
No rain,
and famine
no food,
and general malaise.
no fun.
The crops were not plentiful, and the animals were not fat and healthy.
One morning,
Jack, it's time to milk the cow.
Jack went to milk the cow.
but she was not fat and healthy, and she gave very little milk.
Jack? Yes, Mother? It's time to sell the cow. Take her to the market so that you get no less than 5 pounds for her.
So Jack took the cow to the market.
Along the way, he saw a stranger walking towards him.
The stranger walked with a limp.
And a cane.
Why, hello there, Jack.
Said the stranger.
Where are you going with that cow? My mother says I must sell her at the market for no more than, no, that's not right. For no less than 5 pounds. She does not look well. I know. I'm afraid she's not worth much money. I'll give you some for her. You will? Not more than, not less than 5 pounds. No, something with a lot more.
The stranger opened his hands and showed Jack.
Magic bag. Beans? Magic bag.
The stranger reached into his pocket and pulled out 5 large beans. He gave the beans to Jack, and took the cow's rope and led her away.
And Jack ran home to his mother.
Mother, look. See what I got for the cow? Magic beans. Beans? These aren't just any beans, Mother. These are magic.
Before he could finish, Jack's mother snatched the beans out of his hand and threw them out the window where they hit the hard, dry ground.
Night fell. Then
Rain fell.
and those beans began to grow
They grew.
and grew
And grew.
and in the morning, Jack woke to find a giant beanstalk growing right outside his window.
Whoa!
Now Jack just naturally wanted to climb that beanstalk.
So he climbed
And he climbed.
and he climbed
Until he reached the top.
Phew.
When he got there, he could hear a sound.
A very large sound.
It was coming from a very large house.
Jack tiptoed up to the house. He looked inside and he saw a giant. The giant was fast asleep at his table.
On his table were stacks and stacks of silver coins.
Jack wanted that silver.
He opened the window.
He crept towards the table.
He tripped.
Oh no!
He fell and woke the giant.
The giant hated to be awakened from his nap, and he pounded on the table. Spilling silver coins all over the floor, Jack scooped up the silver and started to run.
And the giant ran after him.
He ran back to the beanstalk as fast as he could.
And the giant ran after him.
He climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could.
And the giant climbed down after him.
When he got to the bottom, he grabbed an axe and
He chopped down that beanstalk.
while that giant was still on it. Fee, yee, 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 aye, 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 aye. Whoa, 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 fum.
And when he fell, the silver fell with him.
It positively rained silver.
It's going everywhere. Tie.
That was fantastic. You kept me for the entire performance. I've walked out of shows at the Orpheum before, so this had to be good. This was really, really good. Thanks, boys and girls, for coming up and doing that for us.
Yay.
You'll have to come back again. All right. All right, so we're going to give you an opportunity. You are more than welcome to stay through this riveting board meeting, or we'll give you an opportunity to exit stage left, or actually backstage behind you, if you want to when your kids leave, for sure.
Not so riveting soon,
You know,
apparently.
I guess not.
I can't turn off.
You just sit there and look pretty
You're gonna
tonight.
get side-eyed real soon.
That's right.
No offense.
None taken.
You're a pretty man.
None taken. None taken.
I don't sit beside him.
It looks like boys, we would win in tug of war.
We would
That
win in
much
tug
I
of
can
war.
say. We would win.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you again, Dr. Marvin, for doing that for us. That was really good. You'll have to come back for sure. All right, let's move ahead. We'll move to citizens' comments. Ms. Gore, any citizens' comments? All right, we will move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to,
Motion by Ms. Barnes,
Second.
second by Dr. Biox. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. I will move on to reports. I have a very short report, just one thing, and that is we are hosting the TSBA Fall District Meeting here. You may have already, probably already knew that, but just wanted to put that out there. This fall, from all the schools, obviously in our West Tennessee district, will be here. And so we've talked about hosting it here, which I think at this point is what the plan is for now.
In this
In this
building?
building,
Okay.
in this room, actually is the plan for now. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the general plan at this point. So I'm looking forward to doing that this fall for sure. That's all I have for a report today. We'll move on to superintendent's report. Dr. Clark.
Good evening. My challenge each month is figuring out what am I going to highlight? Because as you saw tonight, we have a lot of great programs and learning that is taking place in all 4 of our schools on a daily basis. So I'm going to highlight a few of them, and I mean it is just a few in comparison of what takes place every day in our school district. I feel like I have the wonderful opportunity to be able to go out and get breaths of fresh air and see all the wonderful things that are happening in our school district. Last Tuesday, the 2nd grade teachers at Donaldson Elementary School invited me, and that's what I love is when teachers come up to me and they're like, and I've had this in high school, and you all know, if you know high school people, they don't invite you into anything, and have invited me in their classrooms, and they want me to see the great learning that is taking place with our students. And so last week, the 2nd grade teachers had me come in. They wanted me to come in and see what was called Dino Days. Hopefully you might have seen that on Facebook. It was wonderful. It was a reflection of them disaggregating their case data and recognizing that some of the challenging standards that they need to cover, but instead of covering them over worksheets and things of that nature, they made it very engaging. They did writing paragraphs, they did text features, prefixes, suffixes, and then, of course, my favorite subject, mathematics, and I just got on a high when I got in there and got to work with students on that. And they were working on arrays and word problems. But what was so unique to this learning is that each classroom in 2nd grade was it was underneath the theme of dinosaurs, but they were all decorated differently and all the activities were very different that they engaged in. But those challenging standards were incorporated in there to trick the students into their learning, and it was wonderful. And as we always like to do is remember about our portrait of an ACS graduate. And so part of that is, when you look at that strategy, it's to define and implement student-centered approaches to teaching and learning by emphasizing K through 12 project-based learning and blended learning strategies, and to ensure students are actively engaged in that and showing ownership of real-world learning. And that's what they did appropriate that 2nd grade level. Then Arlington Elementary School, they recently celebrated inducting 38 students into Beta Club. Beta Club is an academic, character, leadership, and service-oriented club. And under the portrait of an ACS graduate, one of our strategies is to support the interest and involvement of students by identifying clubs and organizations that actively engage students in real-world learning. And also, it is a service club, and they'll have a community service project that they will complete as part of that club there. We are excited to share the details this year of the Mental Health Fair, March the 27th, and I've provided you with some dates of upcoming events. This year, the theme is Screen Wars, the Rise of the Blue Light. And so I can definitely relate to that because I feel like my vision has declined in the past months because spending a lot of time in front of that computer. So that will be their focus. There will be fun, engaging educational experience for everyone who attends. Parents and students will be invited, and that's part of Portrait of the Graduate strategy. Develop and implement strategies, improve and expand parent education programs in areas of the academic, social, emotional learning, child mental health, and preparing the students for their next steps. And then one of the last activities is the IKEA partnership. I feel like I want to make that update. So, we had Dino Days that were elementary, that was project-based learning, hands-on. And then now when you look at the high school, the IKEA partnership. And so kudos to Ms. Kim Douglas, our secondary supervisor that works in the department, and Mr. Goforth oversees that department. She has worked very diligent and very hard in with IKEA, making sure our course curriculums in a lot of areas are aligned with the IKEA experiences. And some of those, there'll be on-site visits, and then there will be workshops. And at the beginning of this month, they came to Arlington High School, IKEA did, and they did business navigation and operations. And the way that students have been selected on some of these is we have School Links, and School Links is that program that they begin from kindergarten and matriculates all the way up through the grades. So we're able to pull data out of there to look at students' interests. So when we had the interior design that Mr. Benjamin and myself were at, the students learning about interior design and how they set up all those wonderful displays that you see at IKEA, students that were selected to attend that were students that had an interest in that area. Then on March the 5th, there's a field trip to IKEA again. It'll be environmental science students. The AP environmental science students will be at that field trip. It's a recycles, eco-friendly initiative and sustainability product life cycle. So IKEA is showing how they work with that in a business environment. And then at the end of this month, we'll have a business management food truck presentation, and IKEA will come and give feedback to the students who have developed that. Also, there will be a workshop about an interview workshop and how to interview. And they've also shared with us that when our students are going to teach them that interview process, and then if they apply with IKEA, they will get some first preference. So that's really good opportunity for our students there.
Excellent.
So again, that's given our students that project-based learning and that real-world experience. I'm looking forward to attending. We have some baseball signings coming up this week on Wednesday and Thursday, so we have students continuing to take the next level in a lot of our sports. And then at AMS, softball, baseball, and soccer will begin soon in March, so I encourage you to look at your calendar. And our Lady Tigers basketball team has made it to regionals. We'll find out soon where and when they play Friday night. And then I did send out a Q3 lunch, so don't forget to sign up because that's the week of March 11th. Then I'll see, do I have any reports from departments? Ms. Douglas? No, ma'am. Mr. Goforth? Ms. Speakman? Nothing. Mr. Tyler Hill? No report. Okay. Ms. Sappensley is at a training through Skyward, and she had no report. Mrs. Walker, Lisa Walker, she's at the training as well. And we have some certified positions for next year already that we're aware of. There's a special ed functional skills teacher at Arlington Elementary School, a SPED co-teacher at Arlington High School. And then up here at this time, we'll have an elementary teacher, a couple of openings at Donaldson Elementary School, but it's still early. And then we have a teaching position at AMS posted for Spanish. We have some classified nutrition tech positions, one at AHS and AES. Our employee attendance rate is 95%. Our substitute, we did have a little decline. It's at 87% because we had the flu. No surprise there. And then at our annual teacher job fair, I appreciate the attendance there. We had 59 to sign up, and we had 40 to attend, which was good considering the weather that we were anticipating to come in that night. So that was good. Mr. Ruff has shared with me an update. The slab for the softball field house will be poured tomorrow. Masonry will begin on Thursday. They will set the trusses the week of March the 17th, which is our spring break. And we are continuing to work with the coaches to make sure we do not have to move any home games around. And we are still waiting for the signatures from DRC with the town for the football field house. So we are hoping the week of spring break has wonderful weather, and we'll see what happens from there. But we're progressing along there. So that's all the reports I have tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Clark. I'll do Mr. Dunn's legislative liaison report. Just a few things that I'll mention publicly here. A few bills to watch. House Bill 932, Senate Bill 897 requires school districts to pass a wireless communication device policy, which prohibits the use of wireless communication devices by students during instructional time unless teacher authorizes such use, an emergency event occurs, the wireless communication device is necessary to manage a student's health, or the use of wireless communication device is included in the student's IEP or 504 plan. And a wireless communication device is defined as a cellular telephone, tablet or computer, a laptop, computer, or a gaming device. So that is coming up. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how widespread the support is for it throughout the state yet, but it will be an interesting thing to go, or you're going to have to give up your cell phones when you walk into a classroom. So that's coming, parents. Good for you guys. Next is House Bill 825 and Senate Bill 811. Requires TDOE, Department of Education, to develop a social media and internet safety curriculum for students, grades 6 through 12, which shall be required curriculum for those students. Beginning in the 26-27 school year, the bill also provides that beginning with 25-26 school year, each school district shall prohibit students from accessing social media through the use of the school district's internet unless authorized to do so by a teacher or an educational purpose. So that will give our teachers something else to do while they're teaching. Thirdly, House Bill 401 and Senate Bill 679. This bill requires that TISA fund special education pre-K. As you're aware, this is one of our priorities on our legislative agenda. If they're going to require us to do some things, we want them to fund what it is that they're requiring us to do. And so we certainly are in support of that, as well as TSBA was as well. And then lastly, House Bill 675, Senate Bill 415 is a kind of a hodgepodge of different subjects. Among the more significant issues are reducing the number of state-mandated assessments for students in grades 3 through 12. Hallelujah chorus playing in the background. And reduces the required number of evaluations for teachers or principals who are rated at expectation or above. Kind of get a harump from the admins and teachers. You're welcome, Carol. Any ideas? Y'all probably seen those already. Just that's kind of big highlights on legislative agenda. I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to touch base with your legislator. I would encourage you guys as well that are here listening to reach out to your legislators for sure and voice your opinion on these, because it affects a lot of you who are sitting in our room today. So don't be shy about doing that for sure. And that is the legislative report from Mr. Dunn. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. I have a motion to approve consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Biock, second by Ms. Barnes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion passes. We'll move to business recommendation items. Dr. Clark.
Yes, I have the recommendation for 8A Resolution 2025-26 of the Arlington, 06 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education, affirming that Arlington Community Schools Board of Education would like to participate in Section 4 of the Education Freedom Act of 2025.
Okay, that is the motion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Barnes,
Second.
second by Dr. Viox. Discussion. Dr. Clark, you give us some update on that?
Correct. I would like to share that the resolution is stated as it's stated in the law at this time. The Freedom Act, the Education Freedom Act, it indicates teachers will receive a $2,000 bonus. They have not been real explicit on defining who those teachers are. A couple of weeks ago, it said K through 12. Recent, as what Ms. Speakman and I have discussed, now they include pre-K. So that's an example that I can assure the educators in this district who the state defines to receive this, they will receive it. We don't know when the state is going to allocate those funds to us. They have not given us any dates, but when they do and when they make that communication, as always, we will communicate out to our educators and we will let them know those disbursement dates. But at this time, the information that's in the resolution and what I'm sharing That's all we know at this time. We do not have a lot of details or additional information.
Not a shocker that we don't have all the details. Yes. Not a shocker, we don't have all the details. However, this is one of those things that we've discussed as a board specifically around, we want to make sure if the state is going to allocate this and make it part of the Education Freedom Act, is what they're calling it and what they've deemed it, that our teachers get that money. Whoever they're going to allocate the money for, we just want to make sure that they get that money. One of the questions that I think one of the pieces behind this was for school districts to receive the money, we have to say that the teachers are going to get all the money. And of course, we're going to give our teachers like every red cent of the money that the state gives in that. Part of that, just for people that are here and for the record, is there are some school districts that are in dire financial straits around the state. And I think probably I'm assuming one of the things that they wanted to prevent was allocating that money to some school districts and them using it for other things. And so to participate in this, you have to say you're going to give it. Obviously, thankfully, we're in better shape through the years now to be able to say, yes, obviously, all that's going to go there, and there wouldn't even be a temptation to do that. But yeah, so that's what that is. Any questions or comments about that at all?
I would take it a step further and say that we're honored to give this money to the teachers.
100%, yeah.
And we have some of the highest salaries in West Tennessee, which is something that I'm very proud of this board for doing. So it's my honor to give them, like to your point, every red cent.
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer for us, but I do hope other districts will do the same.
Yeah, same. Yeah, good. All right. Any other comments, discussion around that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion passes. We'll move to approval for, or 8B, Dr. Clark.
So 8B is approval for the proposed 2026-2027 instructional calendar. And I do have a presentation for that tonight. So I would like to begin with the process of how the calendar feedback is. Turned it on, I thought. Oh. See, I thought you were gonna leave it me, it was all blank. Okay. So on the calendar committee, for several years, the process that we have used is the superintendent leadership roundtable. There's the picture of everyone on that current committee. It is selected by each principal. Each principal provides a certified and a classified employee to serve on that committee. There are different activities, different things that I do as a superintendent to really gain feedback from them in a lot of areas. But this is one of their tasks that they're charged to do. And so the way we do this is that we start out, and I have Mr. Hill come, and he gives them the parameters. Now, there are some parameters in this calendar. As you know, the state, they're going to set some of those parameters. So you can select a 180-day or 175-day calendar. We have a 175-day calendar. You have to have the parent conference. You know, you have to have one full day, so we have 2 half days, 1 first semester, 1 second semester. We have 10 vacation days built in that. There's 5 days of fall break, 5 days of spring break. Then we have 5 in-service days. We have 4 admin days, and then we have 5 professional development days, and 4 of those 5 are flex, and 1 is the district learning day that we hold second semester. So we have to give them those parameters to work within. And then once they do that, and Mr. Hill gives them some of that additional information, then they take that back to their school and they share that with their colleagues at the school, giving them all those parameters, and ask them for, if we start on a certain date in August, where will that end us with the 175 days building in all these parameters? So they gather that feedback, and then the next meeting, they come to us and they go through, they share with Mr. Hill in advance some of the options and some of the feedback from the teachers. He builds different calendars, and this year he was able to build 2 different options. So when they come back, we go over those options and we talked about what will that mean. So my next slide is calendar options. So the 2 calendar options, they're similar. I mean, there's only so many ways that you can make this work. And really it comes down to, do you want to start early and end early? Or do you want to start late and end late? So you just have that choice there about the calendar and that instructional calendar. So looking at that, like for example, option A, it started at August the 6th and it concluded May the 21st. You know, we like to be out before Memorial Day, way before Memorial Day. Or you can do option B, that you begin August the 13th later, but you would end the way that calendar year would work and the way the days fall, you would end on a Friday and then Memorial Day is that following Monday. Whereas option A, you end on a Friday, you have a whole week and then you have Memorial Day there. So looking at how the survey feedback came, it was released on Monday, February 3rd, and it closed on Friday, February the 7th. All parents and employees received that survey notice via text and email. We had 888 responses. That's a little more than we had last year. Last year we had 860. 200 employees provided input. 126 of those were teachers, 65 support staff employees, 9 administrators, and then 688 parents provided input. So the overall feedback, when you look at the breakdown, overall, 72% of them preferred option A calendar, whereas 27% of them preferred option B calendar. And that's overall feedback. Then when you look at your employees, 81% of them preferred option A, and 19% preferred option B. Then when you look at parent-only breakdown, 70% of the parents selected option A, close to about 30% selected calendar B. So when we look at calendar feedback, the calendar that we have aligns with employee and community preferences while adhering to our state regulations and just the natural structure of a calendar year. And so some of the highlights of calendar A, I did mention with calendar A, the way it's structured is that we end on a Friday, you have a whole week, and then you have Memorial Day on Monday. You know, one thing we have to do when you consider that, if you've ever looked at vacations, taking vacations before Memorial Day versus taking them after Memorial Day, there's a difference in prices there. So that may be a consideration when people are giving feedback. Then the last day of school, it falls after AP exams. There was one year a few years ago that if you end too early, you have your seniors finish and they don't want to come back and take the AP exams. So this calendar does lend itself well to doing that and given how the structure of that falls. Then some more highlights is our students on the calendar A option, they return on a Thursday instead of traditional Monday. And so we did get feedback when we did it this past year that having students come for that first day on Thursday and then that Friday, they get to know them, they get to go over the expectations of the classes. Look, I even have students shaking heads, so we know we're on sync here. And then Monday, we start the instruction. So that was favorable, and that's some of the feedback we did receive as well. Some more key highlights to that, you know, the parent and teacher conferences will move from, they've been in November, we're gonna move that. That was a request last year that we had structured, is to have them September. And that will continue, you know, that began on the 25-26 school year calendar we had this year, and that will continue on the, or that will be next year, and then it will continue on this 26-27 calendar. You know, when you have a parent conference in November, as an educator, you really need some of that time much earlier, because you want to give students and you want to inform parents and show them the opportunities and way that you can work together to progress student success. And it's easier to do that earlier than waiting till that time period there. So that as well is a highlight to that calendar A. And then some of the other is, we did get favorable feedback because teachers had a winter break, and then they had that day without students. After the winter break, you had a day without students. We could get ourselves ready for all of you, and then you came back that following day. So that was something that was very favorable. Then the district learning day traditionally had on President's Day, and it'll be held the day after. So you'll have parent conference on Thursday night, then you'll have that district learning day on a Friday, then no students report on district learning day, and all employees and students will be off on President's Day. That will start next year, and this calendar that we're proposing reflects that 25-26 calendar that was already approved a year ago by the board. So some of the additional comments, you know, we always receive is, can you please align your fall break and spring break with other municipalities? Well, Arlington Community Schools is always the first to approve their calendar so that everybody else can align with us. I've already had a superintendent reach out to me a couple of months ago and wanted to know what direction we were going, and I have communicated that with the superintendent close by. And so they know how to align their calendar, and you'll see there that how that we're 2 months ahead, and that other municipalities, when they approved theirs versus when we approved ours. You know, there's been a comment about year-round school. Well, you know, with all these summer mandated camps, that poses a challenge there, because we'd have to have them all in June, and then what that means to accommodate that type of requirement, the school year would likely need to begin in July, and then some of the clerical staff and the support staff would have to start around July the 4th. So, you know, that's some of the differences if you did a year round. On the schedules that we have had, what people like is you do a 9 weeks, and then you have fall break. You do 9 weeks, you have a winter break. You do 9 weeks, and you have a spring break. And I can remember a couple times in my career when that spring, you had a 9 weeks, and it's like you did 8 weeks spring break and then a week. You know, it's very clean in the structure that we have been doing for the previous years, and the feedback we're getting as the calendars from year to year is they really like the structure that we've adopted. So my recommendation is for, you know, I'm just considering both employees and parents, is that the Board of Education approves calendar option A for the 2026-2027 school year.
All right, you have heard the superintendent's recommendation, and I have seen my wife's head nodding toward that same thing. And so we already have a motion on the floor, so all those for approving option A, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, option A has it, motion approved.
Thank you for your hard work on that.
Yes, I know that was a lot of
Well,
work, for
Mr.
sure.
Hill was very supportive of that, so I appreciate him as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing that. One correction that I said earlier, that fall district meeting would be here. Oh, sorry. Oh, did we
yeah, I
do a
did it,
motion yet? Oh, sorry. Motion to approve option A as our school calendar.
Well, no, I'll make a motion to, right, motion to approve the school calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll
motion
make
by
sure.
Ms. Barnes, second by Dr. Biatz. All those in favor say aye.
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 Yeah.
Any opposed? No. There are no opposing. Ayes have it, the motion passes. Good? Thank you. Appreciate your keeping me on
Catching
track
that,
there. One correction, I did say earlier in my TSBA Fall District meeting that we would squeeze 65 people in here. We will not do that. I think it's planned for AHS instead of this tiny space. So that will be more info to come for you. All right, anything else, board? Good. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.